welcome joining us again, columnist Rose Cooper. You're quite gung-ho about giving information, aren't you?
Absolutely. I'm on a crusade.
And, you know, a lot of our viewers emailed with concerns about that children should be allowed to be children and they shouldn't, at an early age, be bogged down in adult issues. And sexuality, certainly having sex, is considered to be an adult issue.
That's right. Well, in a perfect world, they could wait until they're adults to start thinking about sex. But sexuality is something that starts from a very young age. And also, sexual arousal is something that starts at a very young age, which is why children are prey to pedophiles, because it's not always something that a child knows about their boundaries and things. And society is just flooded with sex. You turn on the TV, you see a commercial that alludes to sexual practices in the name of ice cream or something like that. So we could protect our children, but we'd have to put earmuffs on them, blinders, don't let them watch television, don't let them watch movies, because it's in the vernacular. Things are happening.
We want to lay a platform so that parents and children can communicate more easily about some of these sensitive issues.
Rose, you are a parent also, and you wrote to us with the observation that you noticed an extreme difference between the sex education that was offered to your son compared to what was offered to your daughter. Tell us about that.
Well, I feel that the parent-child night that they have, which is usually the first discussion on sex, it's 1 hour, I think. You can't cover all the topics that there are. They concentrate on things like the reproductive aspects of sex, childbirth, things that really aren't as relevant to kids as their sexuality, because their sexuality is what is emerging within them from the time they're very young. And boys' information is very straightforward. It's treated very casually, and there's a lot of giggling and things going on, but girls menstruate, they grow breasts, and we really don't talk about what else happens to them physically.
So you're saying you need to make it a bit more interesting to them in terms of the feelings that they're coming to. Is that what you're saying?
Well, just acknowledge the facts that boys aren't the only ones that have wet dreams. Boys aren't the only ones that have arousal. Girls also have these same phenomena. They have nocturnal orgasm. These things happen to young girls.
No, it's the continuity that's necessary, that the single session just doesn't work. There are things they need to know at different ages. It's no different to any other education, which they will build up over time.
Possible to cover all of those issues.
Yep.
What Rose was saying is just as important as boys' sexuality.
Parental opinions are so diverse, aren't they?
That's right. Well, also, Curtin University in WA did a big survey a few years ago, and they surveyed parents of 5-year-olds and parents of 12-year-olds.
Yep.
And 95% of parents of 5-year-olds said yes, they would approach the subject of sexuality with their children at a certain age, and it was on their agenda. By the time they got to the 12-year-olds, this dropped to 37% of parents. So the intention is there, but the moment tends to pass, and by the time a child is reaching sexual maturity, suddenly they're closing the bathroom door. Communication between parent and child sometimes breaks down altogether.
Right, the remaining time available hit on a really, I think, a really key issue, this debate over how much information is too much. And Helen, is knowledge armour, or does curiosity kill the cat or get the teenager pregnant?
That's exactly as Rose was saying at the beginning, that the sex and sexuality is all around our children, and we can't protect them from that. What we can do is help them to be prepared to handle that with care and looking after their own health. The changing disease patterns in sexually transmitted infections and the way that things are changing. We want to prevent pregnancy, so we get into oral sex. That means that, that infection patterns are changing and kids are not able to protect themselves, and they need to build up this body of information to allow them to be safe and look after their own health.
And it's not only about clinical sex, it's things like relationships and self-esteem. So the better I feel about myself, the better I'm going to feel about my body, the more care I'm going to take with my body, and the less I'm going to, you know, give it away, you know, unwittingly.
I thought we were going to have so much time to thrash out all the issues this morning, and we've run out. But thank you very much for being with us this morning.